Heather and Asaf here with me in studio together. Thank you guys for being with us. Appreciate your time on this trip. Heather, I want to start with you. Your first time in Israel. How does it feel for you to be here, to be sitting alongside Asaf years later?
It's been an amazing experience so far. I've really enjoyed connecting with him again. There was a difference in when we were surrogates together. We did talking via text and via Skype messages, but being here and getting to know him as a person in his home country and with his friends is a totally different experience.
Did you want to come to Israel at some point in your life? Did you hope to have like a lifelong friendship, or is it just one of those things?
It's one of those things that just kind of blossomed. We really, my husband and I have always been interested in travel, but we've never specifically sought out to come to Israel, and knowing Asaf through this experience, then we were drawn to come here.
I mean, just for as a guy, as someone, just as a general question, is it weird? What's the feeling like as a surrogate? You're carrying someone else's child for 9 months, and they're not there most of the time. I know. Does it feel lonely? Does it feel bizarre? Can you kind of describe?
Yeah, absolutely. It doesn't feel lonely. I got a lot of support from my family and friends, and so I was well supported in that. I never felt lonely through the experience. What I did feel was an immense connection to Asaf and Zion, and less so with the babies. The pregnancy, I didn't try to connect as much with that, so that when it was time for them to take the babies, then I was less connected.
Kind of
yes, exactly.
Asaf, why was it important to you, I guess, to keep in touch with Heather, to stay in touch, to be friends?
First of all, we fell in love, like happens between people. We really love Heather and Colin, her husband, and the children. They became kind of like a family to us. But above this, we wanted, and we still want, to have a story to tell to our children, which is involved with people. There was this amazing woman called Heather that helped us, because we want it to be a real story, then we have to make it real. We have to be in touch with them.
You wanted her to be you wanted your children to know their whole life journey, and you wanted to make sure Heather was a part of that.
I think it's their right to know how did they come to the world. Right now, we cannot explain it to them. Right now, they call them the guests. Haochim in Hebrew. The guests. Where are the guests? And they really love them. They can't speak, but it's amazing the connection that they got together. But one day we'll tell them like what happened, how it happened, and that's it.
Is it frustrating that you had to spend so much money and time of your life going to America to be connected with Heather, that it's not a right for you still in Israel? It's not something you can do here.
Yes, of course. This is part of our journey as a community, of a gay community. And I think it's part of Israel's journey to become more right for her citizens, to make it possible to everyone to have this right to become a family.
To have children.
Yeah, it's not something we want to do. It's something we need to do. People need to become parents. It's part of who we are.
What do you think about that, Heather? That here in Israel, I mean, gay men cannot become fathers through surrogacy. They travel the world to try and get an opportunity for that. Do you have feelings on that?
I do have feelings on that. I feel like it's a beautiful connection that we've made, and it's a great bond that we've created through cultures, 2 different cultures. But I think that for people from Israel to be able to have Israeli surrogates and have that cultural connection would be so important.
Why did you want to do it in the first place?
I never wanted children of my own, and when I found out through a happy surprise that I was pregnant with my first son, when I gave birth to him and they put him on my chest for the first time, I was immediately bonded and overcome with emotions and happiness and a connection to him. And I couldn't imagine a family wanting children as badly as I didn't want them and not being able to have them. And so I wanted to be able to support a family and having children. And physically, pregnancy is very easy for me. And so being able to give that to someone else was phenomenal.
I guess a lot of women would be very jealous of that.
Yes, that's true. Yeah. I hear a lot of the time, don't share that with other women. Yeah.
It was not that easy.
It was easy. I mean, maybe easier than...
Compared to having ice cream, it was easy. It wasn't easy.
We can see the connection between you. I mean, Asaf, so you came back, though, for the last few weeks, correct? The last month you were there in Portland. You came back. You hadn't seen them in 2.5 years. They're now walking kids with personalities. Bianca was there with you at the airport. When you saw them, really, what's that like? Do you have an emotional connection? Do you try and distance yourself emotionally? I mean, what's that experience like?
There's not really an emotional connection that comes up in that. You, just like any other children, you would have to find an enjoyment in them and their personalities and as people, almost as if they are a niece and nephew or the children of friends. You become connected to them through experiencing them, but it's not something that just hangs on to me.
A great experience though with them.
Yeah, it was an amazing
You're in Israel
experience.
for 2 weeks now.
2 weeks, yeah.
Do you want to do this again? Do you want to do it again with an Israeli couple, knowing the struggles that Israeli men are still facing to do it?
Yeah.
I don't want to put you on the spot, but is this something you would repeat?
It is something. I mean, we've had this conversation a lot of times, and my husband and I have that. It is something that I do want to do again. My husband and I are done having children, but knowing that there are other families out there that want to have more children, and that I'm young and healthy and able to do this, I want to do it again.
Do you consider Heather Asaf a family member, a friend? I mean, how do you even look? What words describe in your mind Heather?
I think it's much more than friends. And I told Heather when they landed that right now, 2.5 years after, I appreciate more the things they have done for us. So yeah, it's like a family.
Very cool. And Heather, you're still here for about another week or so. What are you most excited for? Jerusalem? Going up north?
No, I'm most excited for the Dead Sea. I've heard a lot of good things and bad things, but I'm just excited to see that. Like,
you float.
Just to go. I do. I'm very excited for that.
So good to have you here. Thank you for letting us tag along on your journey. Incredible video, incredible story. Thank you so much. I know the fight for surrogacy here in Israel continues. Asaf, Heather.